Welcome to episode number 368 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. You can find us by searching Beyond Social Media Show. We are recording on December 5, 2021, and it is that time again for our end of year review of the best of the best and the worst of the worst for 2021. And so for this episode, BL and I have picked out our 5 favorite best stories and our 5 favorite worst stories and ranked them from how do I say this? The fifth is the best of the best or the worst of the worst, and the first is not so not as good or not as bad. I don't know how to word this, but anyway, we rank them in descending order so that the best of the best is the last of our 5 slots each. And then we'll go through and talk about them and why they're great or why they're horrible, and come up with a ranking of 10. BL and I will kind of figure that out. What goes first? What goes first, and what goes last in the ranking of 10? Then that's it. That's our show for this week. So let's start it off. BL, you always have the honors. The best of the best. What was your not best of the best?
So my fifth best.
Well, hold on. We're starting with first, right? Because fifth
Right.
is the
In
best
descending
of the best.
order.
Descending order. So not as good first.
That's what I just said.
You said fifth, and fifth is the best.
No, I said my fifth best.
Oh, got it.
Anyway,
You got these numbers weirdly. Okay.
that was our story about back in April about Nerf hiring their chief fan as their chief TikTok officer. And so what they do is they gave this woman, Sophie Jameson, who has the TikTok handle Nerfers 101 and more than 1.8 million followers, and probably more by now. And she beat out over 1,000 other applicants for a $10,000 a month post as chief TikTok officer at Nerf for 3 months, and that began in April. So, I thought that was fabulous because you put your biggest fan in the spotlight and you pay her royally, and it's just going to make her an even bigger fan. So, what a great thing.
What was her job description, though? I mean,
Well, okay, so the brand was seeking a trend-obsessed and highly creative Nerf fan to serve a 3-month stint at a $10,000 per month, along with such perks as Nerf blasters and other swag. They went from roughly 22,000 followers at the start of the campaign to well over 100,000 back in April, picking up some 42,000 during the campaign, and they got 250,000 likes in the same period. And then
this was Nerf. This was Nerf that got that growth, that audience growth?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Nerf application hashtag was viewed 84 million times. And so they got more than 1,000 applications. They narrowed them down to fewer than 10, and they each got a half-hour interview with a panel from Hasbro's marketing, PR, and social communications team. They wanted to know, what do you love about the brand, and how you would apply your knowledge and love to the position. And she won them over. And she is a resident of Newport, Rhode Island, and a junior at Southern Maine University. She's getting a bachelor's degree in business management. And, she is drawn to Nerf products, and she has really good video editing skills.
Well, good for her. I mean, that's a really smart way of launching your presence on a new channel. If that was the case, did Nerf? I assume they didn't have a very big following compared
Exactly. But the interesting thing about her is that she's developing a consulting company, and she now does motivational talks at schools about the importance of authenticity and passion in pursuing your life's dreams, because she got hers.
Yeah.
So I mean, you just have somebody who's just going to keep on going and loving you.
Well, I mean, it's as I said, it's a smart way of launching your presence on a new channel and growing your channel.
Yeah.
You need to have obviously a critical mass and a passion brand for that to kind of work. But yeah, good for them.
Yeah, I thought that was brilliant.
So my not as best of the best. My fifth favorite, there we go, is New York Times article, actually, of investigative historical journalism that is a superb example of interactive storytelling on the Tulsa Race Massacre. So the New York Times did this investigative journalism with a parallax scrolling technique. So as you're scrolling through the page of this piece of investigative journalism or historical investigative journalism, it illustrates a tour of the Greenwood neighborhood, and they reconstructed the Greenwood neighborhood in 3D so that as you're scrolling through the page, you're actually driving through the neighborhood, and along the way there are pop-ups of what businesses were there, who was effective, and it just was a brilliant way of telling the story of the Tulsa Race Massacre and the destruction of Black Wall Street in 1921. So that I mean they do a lot of these kind of interactive storytelling pieces in the New York Times. This was particularly well done.
I don't think anybody does it better than their team. And I actually was at a lecture where one of the people who's involved in it was talking about it, and how many people it takes to do something like that.
Imagine.
And but I mean they do it brilliantly, and I've seen the Washington Post do something similar, but the Times really excels at it, and that was such an important part of history to use in that way. So my next one, which I again think was smart, was Snapchat creating millionaires. We talked about this in episode 334, and Snapchat wanted to get more people. so they said they were going to pay $1 million a day to people who posted viral videos to their new basically TikTok clone called Spotlight, and top performers in that channel immediately started earning millions of dollars. So, but despite this campaign and all the money that they spent, Snapchat is a distant third to TikTok and Instagram. But what they did in November, they announced that they were distributing $1 million a day to people who made Snapchat posts. So right away, like, there were people who started posting something every 5 minutes. I mean, thousands of people got small fortunes through Snapchat, and they never did specify an end date. And I don't know how long it went on for, but many of these people were TikTok stars, of course, and Gen Z influencers, but just average kids were striking gold after their videos went viral. And so the word got around, of course, about something like that. And they had this nationwide contest, and they called it the Snapchat lottery. And some teens literally posted hundreds of pieces of content every day, and you didn't have to opt into the Spotlight program. And this one woman who makes $12.95 working at Lowe's made $500,000 for posting a viral video of her sister deep frying a turkey on Thanksgiving. Now, of course, I've always wondered how people didn't blow up their houses doing that, so I would have watched it. But the bottom line is the same things are popular on TikTok and Spotlight, dancing videos, prank videos, challenges, tutorials. But the difference on Spotlight is the absence of public like counts or comments. And the cool part about it was, even if you weren't an influencer, you could make money. But the amount of money they earned overnight was absolutely insane. And all you had to do to be eligible was be 16. But if you were under 18, your parents had to approve the payment, which I'm sure wasn't a problem.
Amazing what you can get when you pay people to do stuff.
Well, exactly. And it still didn't raise the needle for, them being in competition with TikTok and Instagram.
So they don't have likes and comments, but how do you know if it's viral then? Is it views?
Well, I guess they knew.
Yeah. So my fourth most favorite best story is from episode 361, and this happened over the summer. The ride-sharing brand Lyft partnered with Oscar Mayer in
This was
selecting
hilarious.
to surprise Lyft customers with a custom ride in the Wienermobile. So this happened from August 22nd, 25th to 27th in New York, Los Angeles, Atlanta, and Chicago. And I just, that's so smart. I mean, it's
So
a
wait, so you
story,
called up Lyft for a car
but
and you got the
random
Wienermobile?
person who get a lift shows up. What the vehicle shows up is the Wienermobile. There were neon lights, there's music, free swags, and weenie whistles. But the riders didn't know they were going to be picked up by the Wienermobile. So you can imagine everybody's got a phone on their on a phone with a camera, so they're definitely recording that and sharing their experience.
That is so brilliant. So this is another one that I just loved. This was in April from our episode 344. And, internet people like to be crime sleuths, and actually, in many instances, like after January 6th, they have actually, found criminals. So in this one, an Italian mob fugitive was caught in the Caribbean after he was posting his cooking videos online because, Stanley Tucci's not the only one who likes Italian food. So uh, so this guy, this organized crime suspect, was caught in the Caribbean. The police tracked him down through YouTube videos, and he managed to hide his face, but he had these distinctive tattoos, and he was caught after 7 years on the run. So his name is Mark Ferren Claude Biart, and he was wanted on cocaine trafficking charges. And they recognized his tattoos on the videos, and they believe he's a member of a powerful, brutal crime syndicate in the southern region of Calabria. And he'd been living in the Dominican Republic for 5 years. He kept a low profile, but he was posting these videos, cooking videos, to a YouTube channel that he had with his wife. And they said his love for Italian cuisine is what made the arrest possible. But what I loved about it was that it was, YouTube watchers who said, who told the police to look at this guy, that they recognized the tattoos. And, there are people there are whole groups on Reddit and other parts of the internet where people try to solve crimes, real life crimes. And in many cases, they're effective. So, love of Italian cuisine,
So
get busted.
the mystery for me is how did they know that he was a criminal? Was he, I mean, was he upfront about it in his videos? Yeah, I'm a mob.
No, he wasn't. He was trying to be this, inobtrusive guy, but I guess there were wanted posters or, I don't know how. I mean, there are people who devote a lot of their time to solving crimes, and particularly these cold crimes and these long-standing ones, and you often will read in the story about it that, internet people helped.
Okay, so here's how I think they did it without knowing anything more about what you just told me. I think that somebody found out that this guy was a fugitive, like a wanted, 10 most wanted or whatever the FBI does. And there's some images there about his tattoo, right? So
Yeah.
he can be recognized by this tattoo. And somebody did a image matching program to
Uh-huh.
search for that tattoo, probably just using Google's image search, and came
Sure.
across a thumbnail from the YouTube video that included that tattoo, and that's how they found his YouTube channel.
That's probably exactly what happened, but all of it is thanks to social media, which is like why we're here.
That's good. So my third most favorite best story is from episode 363, and this is the first time I've ever seen this, and then I subsequently saw it after we discussed it in episode 363 of an example of a content marketing television ad. This was by Sleep Number, who ran some TV spots that were like nearly 4 minutes long. And it was like a segment of a CNN show or an MSNBC show, a mini segment what they were doing was featuring educational spots basically about the sleep needs among wildlife, among animals. And they tied that to the Sleep Number and how it's important for human beings to have proper sleep and everything. But it was fascinating because it was very low key in terms of branding, but it was highly educational, and it was a television spot that was nearly 4 minutes long that I watched to completion because it was so good. And I subsequently saw another brand, I can't remember which brand it was, do basically the same thing. So run a really long TV spot that was an educational kind of piece of content.
But you know, that's what advertising ought to be, something that you would watch to the end and not just hit you over the head with, you know, the stupid messages that we
And
get.
it's not even, I mean, this wasn't purely entertainment like a lot of the insurance companies do, just really entertaining fun ads that are fun but don't have any real connection to
Insurance.
or automobiles or whatever. This was, this was had a tight connection to what they're selling. Plus, it was educational as something that had compelling enough to watch to the end.
So now I'm waiting for the video because the other night, I guess it was in Sweden, I think, some customers got Denmark or Sweden. Some customers got trapped inside an IKEA store, and they got trapped inside a mall. And the IKEA store opened it up, and they all slept in their beds. It was kind of like Goldilocks. Well, you know, this bed is just right, and they fed them, and they, they gave them coffee. They made them comfortable, and they stayed out the storm. So that's got to be a video. I mean, that's
Well,
got to be something.
waiting for a remake of Dawn of the Dead, where instead of a mall, it is an IKEA store that they hold themselves up in to stay away from the zombies.
Let's
You
hope
got
not.
everything there.
Yeah, it's true. You do. So my fourth favorite was the Bored Ape Yacht Club's NFT launch on Twitter, something that you won't love. But the reason it's here is because back in August, the Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs launched on Twitter, and the original price was $190, and they're now worth a minimum of $200,000. And they are somewhere between art collection and a streetwear brand and a hedge fund. But they are a user-generated network of intellectual property. And it's also kind of a digital social club. And as you know, this past week, Jack Dorsey resigned from Twitter and went into a new company that has a stupid name, Block, which I think H&R Block and The Block are going to really love. But he's all in on blockchain. So while people were wondering what these people were even talking about, it took off like a shot on Twitter, and Twitter is the center of the cryptocurrency thing. And their initial offering brought in more than $2 million, and it's subsequently had more than hundreds of millions of dollars in trading. And the cheapest ones go for $14,000, and that was back in September. So a whole bunch of copycats and, you know, other kinds of NFT avatars have come along, and they have, like most, you know, the newest social network is Discord, and which is the real-time chat app, and their server has more than 13,000 members, and they're not all owners, but there's constant discussion. And you know, it's a social and financial thing. So a week ago, these now wealthy people took over Manhattan for a week of Ape Fest. And, you know, a lot of this I describe as a boys measuring club. I mean, that's a lot of what it is, but a lot of these people are millionaires now. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
I know how much you love the whole
Yeah.
story.
My favorite, I mean, I'm not, you know how I feel about NFTs, but my favorite NFT story is the disaster girl meme.
Yeah.
The girl who is in the disaster girl meme, her father took a picture of her in front of a burning house, and she actually created an NFT where she sold that the rights to that, and she made money for herself, and
And
that's
she
great.
will make money in perpetuity because those involve what's called a smart contract, and that contract defines that every time a resale is made, you will still get your
Well,
percentage.
that's the fascinating part about NFTs is the blockchain behind it. I think that
Mm.
NFTs are a ridiculous story, frankly, but the blockchain, that's real.
Oh
That's
yeah.
real stuff right there. So,
Okay.
my fourth favorite is from episode 336, and this was a PSA that was a gun safety PSA. And it was the title of it was The Best Unbox Ever with Caden, which featured a fictional 8-year-old kid unboxing his parents' unsecured handgun. Super powerful because it's exactly what, it's exactly what every parent needs to know, especially in the wake of this week's news. Secure your handguns from your children. But it was, the PSA was from the States United to Prevent Gun Violence, and aimed to highlight the fact that 4.6 million children live in homes with unlocked guns. Um, so we'll put a link to that in the show notes for people to watch. It's a powerful PSA.
Powerful, and it's heartbreaking because honestly, if something was going to be done about this, it would have been done after Parkland. It would have been done after Columbine. It's very clear that nothing's going to happen, and that breaks my heart. But on a much happier note, my favorite story of the entire year was in episode 352, and it was Oreo welcoming aliens. And Oreo created this limited edition cookie pack that they said was a peace offering for potential extraterrestrial visitors. And they did that a week before the congressional report on UFOs that was scheduled that month. And, they've often plugged into or created news. So in this case, they said, in case they're out there, we're extending an intergalactic olive branch to any visitors, Oreo cookies. And we made a signal in a known UFO hotspot, and we will build our Oreo offering with the help of our fans. Stay tuned. So what they did was they staked out a farm in a part of the Midwest that's famous for UFO activity. And they had a social campaign that was called the offering. And in the first video, there was representatives named Robert and Jamie, and they were leaving out Oreo products on a pad as a gift to the extraterrestrial visitors. And then they started to find that the cookies were gone, and there was a 3-acre wide crop circle shaped like an Oreo that was on the ground. So, this is one of many things they did in 2013, as everybody probably still remembers, when the lights went out during the Super Bowl. And they immediately tweeted the now famous tweet, "You can still dunk in the dark." And, and they did it within minutes of the blackout. So, the cool part about that was they saved Oreo the $4 million it would have cost to have a commercial, and it ran during the game. And then they had a rainbow cookie for Gay Pride Month. They had an eclipse cookie. They had an anti-bullying cookie, and they've done so many more. And it's just, it's brilliant marketing. I mean, we love, we love, I can't think of them. The toys, what are they called?
Legos.
Legos. We love Legos, but Oreo is a close second, and this was my favorite.
Yeah, they're brilliant at newsjacking. They
Yeah,
absolutely are very, very good at that. But also it makes me think that, it didn't occur to me, but I think Santa must be an alien. Because, we leave out cookies for Santa and they disappear, and this might be the same. I'm just saying.
very likely. Gets her on that sled that we can't really see. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So, my fifth favorite is from episode 334, at the beginning of the year, and it still lasted. It's still brilliant even after a full year. Is the Match.com commercials that imagined what a perfect match would be with the year 2020. And the year 2020, the perfect match, of course, was Satan. So they ran a series of commercials where 2020 met Satan and they fell in love. My only thing is that they could have carried it through to 2021, because 2021 wasn't much better, probably worse than 2020. So this could have been a year-long campaign.
It certainly could have, and it was so brilliant. I mean, it really was. Yeah, you have to put them in the show notes because they're just hilarious. So that brings us to our worst stories, correct?
Does kick
So the
it.
fifth worst one that I have was when LinkedIn knocked TikTok. I mean, you really shouldn't say bad things about your enemies. So LinkedIn ran an ad campaign saying that companies should not advertise on TikTok. So we talked about this in episode 342. And they said that companies shouldn't advertise on platforms like TikTok. They said, don't be a fish out of water, do business where business is done. But it sounded like sour grapes. And winners don't need to knock their competition unless they make fun of it, like brands like Taco Bell do. So LinkedIn ran these ads that said, come here and not there. And it appeared on LinkedIn and trade publications like Adweek and Ad Age, and it was on YouTube. And it said that LinkedIn was trying to reach C-suite decision makers, but, is this effective? I think the answer is it depends. I mean, it would be strange to see an ad for Chipotle or the San Diego Zoo on LinkedIn, but I think LinkedIn could do well with ads on TikTok. And so, while I get what they're doing, they overlooked all the brands getting great results on TikTok, like Instagram and even Snap. And, I'll put a note to Pamela Bump's article on how 7 brands are using TikTok successfully and why. And, 8 ways brands can incorporate TikTok in their marketing. And in the end, I think it's a battle LinkedIn will lose. So no need for that.
Yeah, I have been seeing more and more indications that there's successful B2B attempts on TikTok.
Yeah.
It has to. I mean, this story makes me think that they wouldn't have done this without data that indicated that there are people who are going to TikTok for B2B marketing tactics that they typically would have gone to LinkedIn for. So
But that's not how to get them back.
well, no, but it is. I mean, that seems to me the story is anyway fascinating. Um, so my fifth, I don't even know how to pronounce this. My my worst one, starting with the least worst. Yeah, there we go. Is episode number 344. We discussed Mars Bar. Mars Wrigley, the company that makes the candy bars, had created an autonomous robot that roamed stores and tempted shoppers before they reached the point of sale. So it was basically pestering. It was basically a spam in a robot's body, pestering people to buy Mars candy bars.
And scaring them, probably.
Exactly.
That's really silly.
It
Although,
was
remember the I'm on a horse, that ad, a long time ago? What
well,
was that for, a
life.
deodorant? Yeah. And I thought they really blew it by not doing something in stores, like when you got to the aisle. I mean, there should have been, like, you can smell like me coming off the, the shelf. But anyway, yeah, that was stupid. So so my next one is also from episode 344, and that was the Satan shoes. And that was pegged to the release of Lil Rapper of rapper Lil Nas X, and he had a new single, Montero, Call Me by Your Name. And there were Nike shoes that had a pentagram and the number 666, and they sold, supposedly each contained a drop of human blood, but they weren't Nikes. And so way beyond a prank. And this one resulted in a lawsuit from Nike, which of course made the shoes even hotter. And the bodily fluid supposedly came from employees of the Brooklyn-based prank company, whose name is pronounced Mischief. And the video was like X-rated. It had Lil Nas X sliding down a pole into hell and gyrating on the top of the devil while singing about a guy he met last summer. And each pair of the shoes had these small inverted crosses, and the phrase Luke 10:18, which is a passage that references Jesus seeing Satan fall like lightning from heaven. And then there was red number on the back of each shoe that indicated that they belonged to one of the 666 pairs. And they sold for $1,000 initially, and then became more valuable as time went on. And a typical pair of Air Max 97 sells for like somewhere between $100 to $200. So Nike did a federal lawsuit, asking the court to have the sneakers destroyed and saying, we da. But I mean, a lot of times that lawsuit just makes it more prominent in the news instead of just sort of letting it go away. And so many brands have made that mistake over time. The cease and desist letters to bloggers back in the day, and many of us, when we got those letters, we published them. And I'm sure that, if Mischief was doing that sort of thing, that just perpetuates it. So, it's a terrible story all around. What a stupid idea.
It was deliberate. It sounds like it was successful. They jacked up the price of the sneakers way beyond.
Sold the song.
Yeah,
It was good for everybody but Nike.
Nike. Yeah. So my next one is from episode 358, and yeah, I've been on this for a long time because I've been watching it evolve for a long time. But middle-aged dancing guys in commercials, can we finally get rid of them? I mean, it is just so annoying. The first time I saw it was saw middle-aged dancing guys in commercials was in a Wayfair ad, which was actually very good. But then I saw an Arby's ad, a Goalie ad, Metamucil, Grubhub, and then finally a local realtor here in Minnesota had middle-aged dancing guys. And there's actually a sequel to that realtor's ad that has middle-aged dancing guys. They have jumped the shark. End it, please.
Wait, Metamucil had dancing guys?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really silly. What a silly trend. I sort of missed that. I don't know. So my next one is yet another Facebook fail. This is from episode 348, and this was BuzzFeed, who's not my favorite at the moment. BuzzFeed reported on an internal document that examined Facebook's failings leading up to the Capitol riot. And apparently, many of Facebook's employees were prevented from accessing this report. So BuzzFeed published it so everybody could read it. And so despite Facebook's claims that they did everything they could, it's clear that they could have taken down the January 6th insurrectionist posts and groups, and they didn't. And, it's a continuation of their role in the 2016 election fraud. And, there's just so much more that's turned the platform into a cesspool. And the report was titled "Stop the Steal and Patriot Party: The Growth and Mitigation of an Adversarial Harmful Movement." And it's talks about how they were caught flat-footed, which I don't believe. And they Stop the Steal Facebook group as one of the ones that charged up the movement to undermine our democracy. And the company was unprepared. And once they learned about it, they really didn't do anything. So they didn't realize it until after the insurrection, according to them. And, there was a cohesive movement on Facebook, and they're still there. Guess what? They're still there. So, but weirdly, the cover image of the report had a burning US Capitol building and a cartoon corgi dressed as a firefighter. Like, I don't know what that was about.
That sounds like a meme that came from one of those groups. But yeah, I mean,
there's no excuse for that.
We've been talking about this for years. I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't end.
No,
this is not nearly as grave as BL's because it has nothing to do with the demise of our democracy, but still, it's a personal affront to me, I think, because during episode 361, we discussed one of my longtime heroes, childhood hero and adulthood hero, Alan Page, who was a former NFL football player, Hall of Famer for the Minnesota Vikings. I watched him growing up. He was one of my favorite players. Became a Minnesota Supreme Court justice. He is an author, wrote children's books, was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and Twitter denied him the blue verification check mark that he is who he is because he was quote unquote not notable. I mean, I have at least 17 things that I can say that are notable that anybody who had those accomplishments should have the verification. But according not to Twitter, they subsequently did give him a blue check mark, so it has a happy ending.
When you look at some of the people who have them, you really wonder, like, why? How did this happen? Including me. But I have one. So this was truly horrible. This is almost the worst one of the year, except I have a worse one yet. But this was the milk crate challenge. And we talked about this in episode 361. After multiple people broke their bones falling 10 feet or more from a pile of milk crates, hospital, TikTok finally banned it, but I mean, it was after, guess what? Milk crate induced injuries. So for whatever stupid reason, people do these challenges on TikTok, and TikTok says they take them down when they see them, but guess what? They don't. And so the milk crate challenge spread through TikTok. Hundreds of people did this. They piled up milk crates in the shape of a pyramid, and then you're supposed to walk up one side and down the other without falling off. And of course you fell off. And a lot of them fell like on their heads and broke their bones. And there's one video where these guys are there and they're like, okay, we came to break our bones. Like, why? And so doctors started begging them to stop because they were landing in ERs, and the ERs are, they had broken bones and traumatic brain injuries. And so TikTok took the videos and the hashtag down, but of course you can still find them online. And I guess there's some idiot somewhere who's still doing it. So, TikTok took action, but the hashtag got more than 71 million views. And, it's not the only thing that's happened there. They had running through traffic blindfolded, dipping your testicles in soy sauce, setting fire to snow. Skull breaker challenge, that kind of speaks for itself. So, really, people, what the hell?
So, I think that is among the worst stories. I don't think it's among the worst stories necessarily because TikTok's algorithm, although you can definitely make that argument, or their failure to take it down immediately. But it is among the worst because of the people doing the milk crate challenge. I mean, that is natural selection at work right now, right there. I mean,
you cannot underestimate stupidity. I mean, you just cannot, and particularly when it goes viral and people look and go, oh, duh. But, you have to look at Japan, where they have those crazy TV shows where people do really dangerous things. And now we have them here too. But I mean,
that's just a TV show. There are a limited number of people who can participate in the TV show. Online, I have been saying since since Facebook came to prominence that millennials, the millennial generation, now Gen Z or whatever we're calling the next generation, have been the first generations to grow up with the notion that they have an audience their entire life, and that's part of this problem with it wouldn't be popular if people weren't trying to get views, right?
Well, that's absolutely true. And so wasn't it TikTok that recently stopped showing likes or views, or somebody stopped showing, so they stopped showing dislikes on YouTube, but they're still showing likes. So I don't know. But do you have another one?
I do. This is my worst story of the year, absolute worst, and there's a reason for it. It's very stupid. This is from episode 356, and there is a company called Culper Precisions custom designed a Glock handgun to make it look like a Lego toy. And it was launched, the product launch for this Lego Glock, real Glock handgun, was launched at a time when, obviously gun violence is soaring, and there's nothing we're doing to keep guns out of the hands of children. So why not make an actual gun that looks like a toy? They got blowback. They rescinded the product, so they're not making it, they're not selling it. But who?
Not after some people bought it, I guess.
Yeah. How do you decide that that's a good idea?
Yeah, you wonder, like, who's in these meetings and like, what is their argument? But I didn't do my worst one of the year. My worst one of the year is, again, Facebook. Facebook changing its name to Meta, which is lipstick on a pig. And, Facebook announced that it's changing its name, but that's not going to solve its problems. It can't hide behind a new name. So I love the lead in this article by Ariel Parduz in Wired. She says, when Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook in 2004, it was a mere directory of students at Harvard. called the Facebook. 2 decades, 90 acquisitions, and billions of dollars later, Facebook has become a household name, and now it wants a new one. And, the app might be the cornerstone of the company, but call it whatever you want. It's still going to be Facebook, and there's still going to be crap on it, and there's still going to be hate on it, and whatever it's called, the name is the least of their problems. And apparently he thinks that's going to give the company a chance to overcome the problems, but that is not how it happens. Branding comes from a company's culture, mission, capabilities, not its logo or its name or its marketing. And meanwhile, Congress is on the path with Zuck, and they wanted an immediate halt to the cryptocurrency called Diem that they're trying to launch. And this past week, the head of their crypto division left, and Facebook is just a disaster area. And Diem is not Facebook, and it's not an independent organization, and no matter what they say, they suck.
So I don't disagree with anything that you said, except that the change to the name Meta is more than just cosmetic or a PR play, because I have tried Oculus, and it is where VR, it is fulfilling on the promise of VR. It is pretty freaking amazing. So they actually have a consumer leading product there that's affordable, and it really, I mean, I was impressed, and I didn't want to
I
be.
don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that, but what I disagree with is that I don't want Zuckerberg leading the
I
metaverse.
agree. I agree.
I mean, this
But
is like,
they are the leader right now. I mean,
well, and I think that's temporary, because I think there are a lot of people who feel the way we do right now. And what that has to come down to is businesses have to feel that way. And as long as they keep putting their money there because they keep saying it works, and it keeps working as long as it does, what's going to change? They got to get rid of Zuckerberg. That's what they got to do.
okay, well, maybe he'll step down suddenly.
As if.
I wouldn't hold so you got smiles?
I do. I thought after all this, we needed some. And so let me just get to the first one. Let's see, where's my smiles? Because these were cute, and we do need a little cute right now before we go into our ranking. Hold on, where go to smiles. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. It's taking a second. Okay. I have two of them, and I love this one. This was a Navajo Indian skateboarder who went viral on TikTok, and there's not a lot of Native Americans on TikTok who are on skateboards, and her name was Naomi Glasses, and she looked at skateboarding as a form of self-care and self-expression, and a form of exclusion and community building. And it's just lovely to see somebody from the Navajo Nation get that kind of recognition. And she made it to Vogue, to Teen Vogue, and that was just beautiful. And then I have one more, and I love this because this was hilarious. This is called Dangerous Adventures with Dad, and this father created a now viral video Instagram account to prank his girlfriend, because he was working at home and she was working in the office, and she kept texting him all day long, how's the baby, how's the baby? So he started making these videos showing the baby in all these dangerous situations. So his day job was producing concerts and events, and of course when the pandemic hit, he had not much to do, so he decided he would take a Photoshop course. And so he started sending things like pictures of their baby daughter holding a drill, or operating a circular saw, or putting her hand in a plug socket, or walking across a tightrope over a ravine, or climbing a refrigerator and sitting on the stove with a frying pan and a spatula in her hand, carrying out vacuuming the floor. He said he takes pictures many weeks, and he takes many a week, and he posts them all the time, and his account has more than 124,000 subscribers, and I think that was hysterical.
That's great. That's great. So I think let's do our ranking of the 10 most best and worst offline because we're running out of time here. But
Okay.
we'll put those on in the show notes. So you can find them at beyondsocialmediashow.com/368 and we'll put them there. But let's wrap this up. I've got some numbers. So you had some smiles, I got some numbers. And I thought I'd include these because it is timely. This is from SendGrid, the email automation platform, and they have compiled a bunch of data from 2021, from this year. Their platform processed almost 6.8 billion emails on Black Friday and just north of 7 billion emails on Cyber Monday, which represents 16.9% and 22.2% year over year growth from 2020. But most importantly, this is the first data I've seen of this. They have measured mail privacy protection open. So this is Apple's privacy protection thing, where they are counting anybody who gets an email from the Apple platform as 100% opens in your email. So if you're sending email through MailChimp or whatever, anybody who's using an Apple app to get their email is counted as an open regardless of whether they opened it or not. So those open rates are skewed because of Apple's privacy thing. Mail privacy protection, that's the name of Apple's program, opens on Black Friday were just over 40%, and on some Cyber Monday, just shy of 40%. So that's your benchmark on the degree to which this privacy program is affecting your email marketing. Is 40% of your sends basically are going to be worthless data because you don't know whether people opened them or not.
Well, I mean, all week long, I got, and I'm still getting Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Now it's Cyber Week. Now it's Cyber Month. You can't get away from them. And I did not give anybody permission to email me every day. So I started marking them all as spam, And then I got a notice
The eye of
from
the beholder. So definitely, I mean, regardless of whether you signed up for it, if you don't want it anymore, people will click on spam if they don't like it.
Yeah, and then I get a notice from Gmail. An unusual amount of spam has been noted in this account. Did you mean to do that? And yeah, I sure did. So anyhow, that brings us to the end of 368 episode of Beyond Social Media Show. And you want to find us and see all the stuff we were talking about on our blog. It is BeyondSocialMediaShow.com, and links to everything that we did will be at BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/368. I am here with David Erickson, my partner since 2012, although we've never met in real life. Someday we will. He's on Twitter as D Erickson, on Instagram as DE Erickson. He's on YouTube as eStrategy, and he blogs at e-strategyblog.com. I'm BL Ochman. I'm What's Next on Twitter. My blog is what'snextblog.com. My YouTube channel is What's Next Blog. My website's blochman.com. And please go to the show, beyondsocialmediashow.com. And on Twitter, follow us at BS Media Show. You can listen and subscribe to the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. And you can also tell your smart speaker, play the Beyond Social Media Show. And we'll be back.
Thanks for
Thanks for
watching.
watching.